Guys, choosing work boots used to always be a compromise where you either have to sacrifice comfort or durability. I grew up on job sites. Believe me when I tell you, I've worn my share of work boots. Brunt has finally changed this predicament. They've designed a boot as comfortable as your favorite sneaker for any job site. Trainer Eric Gerwad grew up blue collar, and he started Brunt after his friends in the trades encouraged him to build a workwear brand that was made for them. And how cool is this? All Brunt products are named after guys Eric grew up with. Whether you need waterproof, safety toe, or soft toe, you want to pull them on or lace them up, they got you covered. Brunt is so confident in these products, they'll let you try it on the job, risk-free. For a limited time, my listeners can get $10 off at Brunt at checkout by using code Chael. Just head to bruntworkwear.com/Chael. Use the code Chael, you're all set. Brunt also offers a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs. Whether it's heavy-duty work pants or weather-resistant jackets, Brunt designs reliable, durable workwear to keep you protected. Right now, my listeners get a save $10 off at Brunt simply by using code Chael at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com/Chael. Use the code Chael at checkout, or just click on the link below. And if they ask, tell them Chael sent you. Is he coming back? What is going on there? Jorge Masvidal and Cowboy Cerrone both, neither, I might add, who've ever trolled us? Ever? That's a long time. Neither one of these guys. They started this sport prior to the era of the internet. They came into that era. You're telling me neither one of them ever has pulled a ruse in the media for a little bit of attention? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think so. No. I'm gonna couple them together. I'm gonna bring Nick Diaz and I'm gonna put him with that group. In fact, Nick was the first. Nick was the leader that we're not signing guys over a certain age. The end. We're not signing guys over a certain age that have lost their last fight, that have lost their last 2 fights, that have lost their last 3 fights. Like whatever criteria there was, when it applied to Nick, we knew, hey, this is real. Right? They'd said something very similar to Overeem, something very similar to Damian Maia, something very similar to my teammate, Ed Herman. But when it applies to Nick Diaz, you start to understand, all right, okay, they really mean this. Now, I only share that with you because there was no pushback on the older fighter. There was no pushback on an older fighter with a sliding record. But then Nick got signed. And Nick was going to go off to Fight Island. And he was getting ready to compete, and something happened, and it got pulled. It was against Vincent Luque. But we were told that Nick was going to be able to compete at a later date, so we pulled Luque. So it looked as though we're just going to take this Luque-Nick fight, and we're going to put it somewhere else. Now, that doesn't happen, but now the theme exists. If Nick can be signed, why can't I? And all of a sudden, Cowboy and Masvidal say they are. Cowboy and Masvidal go a little bit further to say that they had re-entered the pool. I don't know what the pool would look like for Jorge Masvidal. For Cowboy, the pool would look 180 days. There's forms that you can check. They don't want you to go on a steroid holiday, the term that they use. And Cowboy did, according to Cowboy. So he would let them, and he would disclose that, and then he would be very different. He would be in the 6-month pool. But Masvidal, I believe, could just come right back in. And either way, I bring that to you because it's been a number of months. We're not far away from that 180 days. You know, we're within 2 months of that. And on Masvidal, we would be free and clear, and we're getting ready to go out to Miami, which if you were ever going to use Masvidal, which is very hard for me to believe. I must tell you, before you think I'm being a hater self to Masvidal, I hope we do. If I had my choice or my preference, I'd like seeing Masvidal. I think that Masvidal offers something. Masvidal has just found himself in a very unique position where nobody wants to fight him. I mean, nobody really predicted that coming. And unless we're going to have those 3 guys go play together, right? Nick and Cowboy and George, but it doesn't look like that is what we're doing. It doesn't look like we're going to kind of get a little veterans league to it. I mean, that's what the addition of Vincent Luque against Nick in the very first place was. And I do think that it probably caught Masvidal off guard, that nobody wants to fight him. And you're going to have some good attention, you're going to have some good media, but how far card can you put that? Where could you put that? You can't main event it. There's one guy for George to fight, which is Leon. And there's nobody else for him to fight. Now guys will do it. They get a phone call, but they're going to be looking around going, why did I get chose to fight Jorge Masvidal? We got a guy that wasn't even in the company, so now I'm fighting a newbie. A guy that wasn't even in the pool, and he just jumped in. I mean, I'm taking on a guy on his debut, except he's not debuting. He's 40, and he's not just 40. He's coming off of 4 losses. What do I got to fight this guy for? I mean, what type of guy would you call to do that fight? You're going to have to call one of your newer guys. You're going to have to. You're going to have to call a guy that has absolutely no leverage. And then the trade is, with Masvidal, he gets a little more meaty. He gets a little bit better placement on the card. But he's not going to be calling for the fight. Anybody that calls for the fight that's not named Leon looks like a real scumbag. You don't call out the oldest guy. You don't call out somebody coming off a loss, let alone 4. I mean, it's a hard spot. And then George, God bless him, he doesn't want to be a jerk to somebody. George knows this business. He knows what I'm saying to be true, but George also knows a lot of guys admire him. A lot of those younger guys that would fall into the pocket of somebody he could get in there with, these are guys that admire George. He's not going to go attack a young guy. George isn't going to, track some guy to the sport when George is 28 or 29. This guy's still in high school. When George was a role model to him, he's not going to go attack that guy. He needs that phone call to come. But if you're going to make the phone call and you're in the office at the UFC that makes those phone calls, what kind of guy are you going to put him with? And I'm telling you now, yes, I do understand that getting a league of these guys solves the problem, and it would satisfy somebody like me. I am still a fan, and I still have nostalgia. And I know I speak for a lot of people. But we have to accept the reality that we are not going to do that. So even if we get a few of the older guys on the card, Diaz, Masvidal, Cerrone, even if we get a few older guys on the card, we're not going to have them play with one another. They're going to have to spread out and cover the field and follow the basic rule of the UFC, which is only the best fighting the best. So while if they did play together, we just need a couple of more players, we've got our own little thing going. We have to accept the reality that's not going to happen. They're going to all get treated the same. There's not a 39-year-old that's going to get treated like a 39-year-old. There's not a guy coming off a loss or a guy coming off a win. There's not a champion or somebody coming off a championship defeat that will be treated different. They will all be in the fire battling the absolute best, or they won't be here. And once we accept that to be real, I will ask you again, if you're going to bring in those guys, Nick, if you're going to bring in Cowboy, if you're going to bring in George, who are they going to play?